Hello, everybody. Thanks for watching. It's your friend James Shaw. Trust you're doing okay. My favorite thing to do now is interview people who are doing awesome things. We do this all the time. In fact, whether you're on Pivot Shift Ahead or on jamesdshaw.com, there are so many conversations you can watch of people I've had the chance to meet and talk to who are doing really awesome things. And we're going to do that again today. I'm excited to introduce you to my new friend, Rodney Maison in Atlanta. What's up, Rodney? How you doing?
I'm doing great, James. Thanks for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for being here. I love your story, and I'm excited to highlight it with people because I think there's a lot they can learn from it. You know, we're in a market right now that we've seen almost a 30% decline in units year over year. NAR has released its forecast for 2023. They're saying another 7% decline again. I mean, so it's definitely a different market than what we were in, and yet your business is growing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and why. You haven't been in the business that long, so we're going to learn some lessons from that. But will you first introduce yourself to everybody, tell them a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, and all that kind of stuff?
So my name is Rodney Maison. I'm with the Keller Williams Atlanta Partners office here in Tucker, Georgia. The Tucker office, if you're in the Southeast region or in Atlanta, you probably know about us. I've been in the business for 3 years now. I was born in Connecticut, but I've been here since 97. And this is where I reside. And I work the Atlanta market. I'm in the Gwinnett, DeKalb, Fulton County, the main markets that I work. And before real estate, I was in the entertainment field, and then I transitioned to real estate 3 years ago.
That's awesome. And we met. I was doing the ALC clinic for Southeast region, and it was kind of fun because as soon as it ended, I had to go. I had to get to the airport to catch a flight, and we like ran up the stairs with each other chatting, which is where we met. I'm so glad we did because in this short time that I've gotten to know you, I've been beyond impressed, and I think you're going to offer a lot of value to our people today. So, all right, so let's rewind. You're a hip hop artist in Atlanta. That's what you're doing. It was working for you, by the way. You were doing good things and meeting great people and doing all sorts of stuff. I got to ask, why hang that up? Because that sounds fun. So why hang that up and get into real estate?
Well, I had my firstborn child, and the lifestyle with the music just wasn't conducive to what I was trying to do. You know, the late nights and the going out and the partying, it just it just wasn't for me no more in the direction I was trying to go. So why real estate, right? Why not anything else? Well, my friend called me one day and said he made $20,000 in 1 month. And I said, whoa, yeah, I want a piece of that. And prior to that, my cousin, who was my mentor, Valerie, out of the Connecticut office in Keller Williams, she didn't always tell me about real estate. You know, every year when I see her, she visits. She's like, "You ever thought about real estate? Real estate's awesome. I think you'd be really good at it. I think you'd be really good at it." So um, I thought about it, and with the real estate, seeing how your career set up and how the job is, I love to make a lot of money. I'm an entrepreneur, work for myself, and I love to help people. Real estate is a driver for me to do all that.
I love it. Valerie King is your cousin?
Valerie King is my cousin, my
That's
first
great.
cousin.
She's great. She's
Yep.
great. I love Valerie. She's a great agent in Connecticut. And
Yes.
Josie, who works with her and all that stuff. And they're great people, very active in what we do here in Pivot and over in Inspire. So, all right, you have a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old. So your big why changes. And your friends, hey, I just made $20,000 this month. You want to provide for your family. Before we started recording, you told me money isn't the driver, but you still want to make money so you can go support your family. So you go do that. You get your license, you get going, your first 6 months happen, and then the pandemic hits, March of
Boom.
2020. What's going through your mind?
Did I just make the right decision? They say real estate is changing, and I just joined this career. What's going to happen now? Right? They're saying everything's shut down. So I had to buckle up, and I pay attention to the people who are successful and what they're doing. I have no problem listening. You know, when you see success in somebody, it happened for a reason. And so somebody told me you need to get on this shift call. It happens every morning, and it might have been Josie, to be honest with you, who told me about it. I want to say, and you know, I didn't have anything else to do. The offices are shut down. My first few months they were decent, but I just wanted to be better. And I was in an office where I was learning from people. I had people that were. I mean, this office, I love them because they offer so much. They just want to help, and that's gone now. And it was the pivot shift call that brought that to me without having to be in an office.
And we're still doing it. Here it is, almost 3 years later. We're still doing the call. You're still on it, which I love. We're still masterminding around ideas. Your office is open again, so now you get them too. And then you said that Bold was a big part of this. That you took Bold kind of right after you got started. So that you said that kind of mentally prepared you for going into a pandemic, even though you didn't know we were going to go into a pandemic.
Now, I can't say kinda, it did, because I took Bold and I took it serious. We had a great coach, Marcus Heflin, and the things that he was saying, it just made sense. I was seeing the activities that we were doing. Actually, I was making it a part of my routine. So, I mean, that led me up to having that routine that I had with the call. But when I jumped into Bold, I took part, I took action. I got involved. I did the Ford method. I was doing that, and these things were working. So now I needed, what's next?
What I'm hearing you say is you took advantage of every opportunity to hang out with people so you could learn from them. At first, it was in your office and taking Bold. Then the office shuts down right for the pandemic. So you're getting on the pivot shift ahead call, which I just made it up. I don't even know what we were doing, but we were just read from the book every day, read from the shift book every day right here, which we still do, and mastermind around that. Now I'm sure you're taking Bold again. You're still on the pivot shift ahead call. You're part of my private mastermind group called Inspire now. So you're all about learning from others. How important is that to be successful? Because if you stick around everybody, you're going to hear how it's paid off for Rodney. How important is it for you to be willing to hang out with people who are succeeding and learn from them?
James, you can't grow past what you know. Period. Okay. And when you're sitting there in a room full of people who are successful and you see that they're learning, in order to be great at what you do, how is an athlete great? They practice, and they're professional and they still practice. The only way for you to be good at whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, you have to practice, practice, practice. And this is what these skills and these lessons that we learn here, they're the practice. You got to go and do the work. This is the work. And that is so important to be successful and stay successful, because you can be successful, but to stay successful, you have to keep on going through that. Things change. That's why the shift book exists, because things change. And if you're not going to learn, then you're not going to make it past. You're going to make it through that.
You have to practice, except for Allen Iverson. Everybody has to practice, except for Allen Iverson. Tell them then, and we're going to go into some of that routine, but tell everybody a little bit about your business. So you're coming up on 3 years. Well, you're right at 3 years right now. So Tell us kind of your journey in the business and what's happening, so they can see how your willingness to be consistent and practice and get into a routine has paid off.
Okay, so let me start with the numbers real quick, right? So first year, pandemic, right? I do 12 transactions. 2.5 million.
That's a deal a month, by the way. I mean, a lot of people would be very happy with a deal a month in their first year, considering a lot of it was during a pandemic. Were you satisfied with that?
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna get satisfied with that. Because to be honest with you, it's a deal a month, but there was months that I did not have a deal. I rode the roller coaster, but I quickly identified why I rode the roller coaster, right? And it's because I was not being consistent. Consistency and dedication is a key to success. And because I wasn't consistent, is the reason why there was months without a paycheck, because I wasn't lead genning every single day. So my next year, I got down and I got more intentional about what I was doing. And next year, I do 29 units for 6.9 million, right? I'm seeing a paycheck. I'm seeing a paycheck a couple times a month, right? And it's because when I got paid at the closing table, I didn't take off a day or two. I got paid. There's enough time in the day. I went back to the office and I went straight to lead gen, right? Because that's where the gold is. So I had to go back to lead gen. Then I go to my third year, and which is now, right? And I'm about 37 units, 9.1 million, right? And so, my third year, that's where I'm at.
What's the lesson then for you? You go 1 deal a month to 2 deals a month to 3 deals a month as an average. What's the lesson for people?
Did a GPS, got my 411. I did my business planning clinics, right? I looked at the numbers. I identified what my lead gen levers was. And then I got with the priorities and the strategies, and I started putting in the work. I created a routine, right? You asked, what my routine is like. So my routine every day. First, I start off with that. I do my meditation, I do my prayer, and then my positive affirmations. Then, some things in between that, getting my kids ready. But I get on this call. The first year I got on the call, great. Second year, I was a little on and off with the call. This year, I'm on the call every single day. I'm not perfect. There's, a day or two out of the week that I miss, during a month sometimes, and which is okay because I can go back and watch it, right? But getting on that call, getting on that pivot shift call, script call, and then after that, setting a time block for me to lead gen every single day. So it doesn't matter how crap my day goes. If I put in that time and I got a couple of things accomplished because I was lead genning during my time block, I did something. So as long as I did something for my business every single day, then I know that I'm getting further and further. And some days are great, and some days, it's not as good. But I got back on the ball, and I could look at where the holes are at after a time, and I could fill it up and fix it with something else.
It's really interesting. People come up to me all the time, Rodney, and say, James, thank you so much for the call. I was on it in the beginning of the pandemic. I don't know how I'd gotten through without it. I mean, I hear it all the time. And then I remind them, hey, we're still doing the call. Come on back. You kind of, moved away from the call. Business picks up, things get busy, whatever. But you discovered that this year you needed to come back. I love that you said you missed some. I'm not even on all the calls anymore, right? It's my call. I'm not even on all the calls anymore. So it's okay. We don't take attendance. But you're on consistently. And it seems like that call is part of the routine. You talked about your meditation. You talked about your prayer. I imagine you're getting exercise in. It sounds like you're having time with your kids. And then you're getting on the call and you're lead genning. Your morning seems pretty structured and routine. Is that right?
My morning is very structured and routine. It's actually on my calendar from Monday through Friday. These things are on my calendar and they're time blocked for that. And until it's very hard, working on the business and working in the business and deciphering between the two, right? Because you need time to do both. And when you're really busy is when you fall off on, working on these things that are important, this foundation, which is this lead gen that we all talk about, and getting busy kind of pulls you away from that. But having the structure leaves me on that and lets me say, hey, listen, it's okay. At 12 o'clock, we're going to call them. At 12 o'clock, we'll resolve this issue. If it's an emergency, okay, I get it. But now just being real purposeful about it, I'm able to see a clear vision. And then at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, if I want to freestyle, I can freestyle from there because I did what I was supposed to do during that time. But even, I'm getting better at that time, not freestyling, being intentional how I deal with my business as well.
You figured out page 73 of Shift, which we read all the time on the call. Gary and Jay and Dave say you have to subscribe to one simple belief that dealing with business never takes precedence over finding it. Never. And he says it's a distraction that everyone faces, but you must adopt that position. You've adopted that position. You're looking for business in the morning. You're dealing with business in the afternoon. All right. So 3 years in to see success like this, you're saying you're all in on lead gen, but people are going to know, well, what's the lead gen? How do you do 12 homes in the first year, 20 something the next, and nearly 40 the following year? So what's the strategy for you from a lead generation standpoint?
I started with the Ford method and letting every single person know that I'm involved in real estate, right? That was how I started at first. And then my task, I had to focus on a certain task so I could feel like I'm winning. And that was get a contact, make a full contact, add it to command, right? And then as the years progress, now DTD2 is what I implement every single day.
Okay, so we got to tell people what that is real quick. DTD2, for the people that don't know, is a way to, we learned this from Steve Schlueter and Tammy Youngs. They teach it in bold. It's part of Never Ending Referrals, but it's a way to break down the database by last name. 2 letters a week by last name. You get through the whole database in a quarter. I want to get that in, Rodney, because people are going to go in the chat. What is DTD2? So now they know.
Yep. And now it's DTD2. You got 2 letters and a text message, right? So don't forget the text message. We got to throw that in there. I do that from a time schedule every single day. Then we go to, I haven't been really great at doing this, but I do implement it. And it's my 555, where I have it written down right here. My GPS, my 401 is right here on my wall. It's, now it's part of my schedule when I wake up, not wake up, but when I get to the office, I'm looking at those so I can make sure I stay on task. And the 555 is me getting on Facebook, 5 messages, 5 likes, and reach out to 5 people, right? So that's one of them. I call FISBOs as well. I closed about 10 FISBO deals this year, right? So that's something new that I added. And then I do events where I'm not personally doing the events, but because my events that I'm involved in, I make sure that I get intentional with those, right? And so between that, my sphere, of course, where 85% of my business comes from my sphere. And it's these people that I just connect with constantly.
It's the people you knew from what you're doing previously, and you just know from the community, and you reach out to them. Okay, this is great. You're proving that focusing on the right thing, day in and day out matters. Getting consistent in your morning routine. You're using literally every tool that Keller Williams offers. I mean, I haven't, I imagine your database is in command. Like, you're just doing all the stuff that KW is asking you to do. You are proving the models. That's what you're doing. You're proving MREA, you're proving shift, and it's working for you. But there are people that will say that anybody could sell homes in 2020 and 2021 and the first part of 2022 because there was just everybody was looking to transact. And as the market transitions and declines as far as number of units, then someone like you who's never been in a tougher market before is going to struggle. Your business is growing though. So what do you say to that?
I hear it all the time. You got to get back to the basics, right? So you say we went from skill set, from speed to skill, right?
We've gone from a speed market to a skill market, right? Speed market, everything's selling, everything's moving so quick. Got to be the first one to get the listing and the first one to bring the buyer. You win. Now we're in a skill market, which is what you're talking about. Are you able to overcome objections, stay in touch, follow the routine, do your forward stuff, follow your DTD2? That's your skill market.
Skill market. And I was very fortunate that short period of time before the pandemic hit, it was still skill. 2019, beginning of 2020, before that hit, I learned actually a lot of things that these agents didn't have to implement because it was a speed market, and I learned them in a short period of time. So now that the market is changing, and it'll forever probably be changing, right? You have to focus on the skill, and you can never stop training. The script practice. I'm working on my scripts on this call, so I'm not messing up in real life and losing money. I'm taking the classes that I need to. I'm taking the training that I need to. And most important that I feel could be a lack in moving forward is having the right people around me as well. Networking with the right people who can guide me and help me be a great agent, a better agent.
All right. So as we wrap up, if you were going to give kind of a pro tip to somebody that's struggling with some of this stuff, they don't have a great morning routine. They easily get kind of the day taken over by holding a deal together instead of going out and finding new business. What would your advice be to that agent?
Go get with your team leader. Break down your business and what you want, and find out what you want for your business, your units, your goals. Find out how many appointments you need, and then start backwards, and then you build to that. Implement your systems. Do your time blocking. Do not skip out on your lead generation. Do your lead generation and find some type of system, some type of community. If you don't take the call, that ain't for you. Okay, you got to find something though, and you do that every single day. There's no way you're not going to succeed.
I love it. Well, and if you're somebody that's not on our morning call, you can join it. It's 8 o'clock Eastern. Watch it in the Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook group or at pivotshiftcall.com. That's the Zoom, pivotshiftcall.com. You can watch it, or as Rodney says, on the day he misses, he watches the recording, and we have the recording in the featured section of the Facebook group. Rodney, I'm proud of you. I think you're awesome. Thank you so much for jumping on and walking us through kind of how you have tripled your business in 3 years. What's your goal for 2023?
My goal for 2023 is 50 transactions, right? 50 transactions. I'm doing 4 listing appointments and 4 buyer appointments a month, right? I got 100 contacts a week, 25 to the database a week, 1 listing appointment a week, 2 buyer consultations a week, review my content for, well, I don't got to go into deep into that. You get the gist of where
I like
I'm going with it.
We have said on the morning call for about a month now that I think there's 2 numbers that we have to be committed to. We've got to really be committed to these 2 numbers. You just mentioned them both. One is number of daily conversations. Yours is 20, and the other is the number of monthly listing appointments. Yours is 4. You know both of those numbers without having to really look or think about it. If you're committed to those numbers, that means you'll commit to the morning routine. Your success is guaranteed. So you're going to do a house a week now. That's what's going to happen. Rodney, thank you, man. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for sharing. Everybody for watching, thank you so much. We'll see you around. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you so much, James.